I've been asked this a couple of times about my aims, and it's so underwhelming, and I feel like everyone's really disappointed. But I have had such an amazing season that all that is left for me to do to tick all the boxes that I wanted to when I came in is cross the finish line.
Yeah, if I did top 10, I'd be very happy. Yeah.
I would like to, I guess, have a great run at the end of the day.
No, I think the island here, it's really tough. I mean, and so at the end, I think I want to cross the finish line and know that I gave everything, even if it doesn't turn out right. I think if after a week, I'm still like, I think honestly back and I say, okay, no, I gave everything, That's what I want actually for myself.
So exciting. Jana, our 40 to 44 woman, has ridden a 4-hour 40 bike split, which is incredible. She's come off the bike first in her age group. Steph Clutterbuck had an incredible swim, and she's leading the race overall as she goes onto the bike. So really hoping she can keep that up. Both of them looking great. And then out on the course is Livia and Camille. They're both really racing strong. They've coming in to finish the bike shortly, and then we'll see how they run it. Always interesting to see how the run legs are in the first few miles.
Well, as promised, we are back with part 2 of the Zwift Triathlon Academy. This is the debrief. It is the morning after, the night before. Welcome along, girls. How are you all feeling? There's a few sunglasses on heads, but that's obviously nothing to do with how you're feeling. Steph, how are you feeling this morning? You wouldn't talk to me last night.
No, I wouldn't, and I have already apologised for that. I was a little bit sensitive yesterday. Really suffered with the heat, but today I'm okay. Legs are sore, as expected. Those stairs to come down onto the garden were not enjoyable, but hungry, and other than that, seems to be okay.
And Camille, you were I think the bubbliest when you finished, yet you worried me because you almost looked drunk. Are you feeling hungover today?
No, I'm actually feeling quite well today. I was not a great state when I crossed the finish line and had some volunteers help me walk really, but I think it was mainly the heat stroke which hit me really hard, and I'm feeling fine this morning actually, and I'm still smiling, so that's good.
That is, thank you. And Jana, you were the most composed when I spoke to you, because I think you'd had you were in the earlier wave, but you also had a very quick time, and you've probably had longer to reflect. How are you feeling today? Has becoming world champion again sunk in yet?
To be honest, I don't know that it has sunk in yet. I almost feel a bit speechless. It's like I still have so much going through my head, but it's hard to articulate just what it means to be able to defend my title from a year ago. And I know we talked about before the race about me trying to have a perfect race. Even though I won, it still wasn't perfect. It was perfect for a lot of the time, but it wasn't. So I guess
we'll see
maybe
you back
have to
here.
come back. Maybe, yeah.
And Liv, how are you doing? You are without your eye patch, thankfully, underneath those sunglasses. How are you doing today?
Really good. Well, I'm a little bit tired. I didn't have such a good night rest, but otherwise I'm doing great. I can see you again, so I'm really happy.
Oh, sorry about that.
So yeah, no, feeling great, really.
Now, I think before we dive into a little bit more of a review on the race and things, I think we should just reflect, because all of you gave me your, what you'd be happy with pre-race, and Liv, you wanted to improve. You obviously had some issues on the bike with your eye, but how did the day come together compared to your goals?
So actually in all 3 disciplines, I was better than 4 years ago. So really happy about that. Solid swim. I said I think I wanted to have 110. I swam 110, so that was good. Well, the bike felt more like a little coffee ride, a Sunday coffee ride, because with issue I couldn't barely see the road. But therefore I knew that I'm gonna have good legs for the run because I didn't use them really on the bike, and had a great run. I really enjoyed it, and that was actually my main goal, because last time I suffered a lot earlier this year at Ironman Switzerland, and so I really had a lot of fun, so totally happy.
Awesome. We love seeing the smiles. And Camille, you obviously suffered a little bit towards the end of the run, but how close were you to, achieving your best day, your best performance?
Yes. So I had a good swim for me, and then I had a great bike for my standards. And I think about 10K into the run, I was in 11th position and only a few minutes from 5th. So for me, that was a really good result. But then the wheels completely came off. I had a heat stroke, and it was a struggle just to make it to the finish line. So I'm just very proud to have not given up and pushed on through. My goal was to do the best performance I believed I could do. I did not achieve that because my run was not what I hoped it could have been. But I'm just happy to have made it to the finish line.
Well, yeah, I mean, I should say you can pass it on to Steph for the next question. But I mean, all of you, I think that's quite an achievement. Just a team that was selected from training on Zwift, and you've all made it here to the Worlds. You had to qualify, and then you actually all completed, and that's a huge achievement in itself. If we saw the DNF rate yesterday, and Steph, that leads me on to you because that was your main goal, but I know you had other goals under there that you weren't necessarily letting out. How did your performance reflect, and how close to those goals?
Yeah, so I think after last year, after the DNF, the sole goal was to get across the finish line, and
you did it.
I stand by that, and I did do that. I wanted to have a good performance, and I wanted to be able to show all the training that I'd done, and I didn't quite do that, but I'm still really proud. There was a moment on the bike and then again on the run that it was the realization that my racing was done and it was going to be a long way to suffer to the finish line. And there were some tears on Elite as I realized that it was going to be another sufferfest for a marathon. But I was healthy enough to keep running, and I walked when I needed to. So to persevere and to once again dial into my resilience and my heart and my soul, it does feel good for that to have paid off to get to the finish line. And it was incredibly emotional for me getting across the line, being announced as an Ironman, and feeling all of the magic that we all feel when you're finishing a world championship. And it was just such an amazing race to be a part of. The cheers, the support. That, yeah. I was shouting for everyone when I saw them and giving high fives, and it was just it felt really, really special. And yeah, okay, my performance goals maybe weren't what I wanted to, but my outcome was there. I finished and I got to enjoy probably the best race of the year, so that feels pretty good.
Quickly touching on performance goals, you were the quickest age group swimmer of the day.
Yes.
That one must have been ticked.
Yeah, I got fastest age group swim and I finished this year, so it counts, which is great.
So we've got two big ticks there. Yeah. Camille, out on the course, how many times did you see the girls? What was the atmosphere like between you all? Steph,
it was brilliant because I managed to see all three of the girls on the course. It was really nice, and we were all very supportive and encouraged each other, and I even managed to high-five Livy. You could barely see me, I think, with one eye.
She was like only 3 meters away, but it felt like so far, and I was like, no, I need to move over to high-five her.
Oh, you got the energy from it there. It was worth it.
Yeah, it was really nice, and the Zwift team was also there, as in like the people organizing.
These crazy guys.
Yeah, they had an amazing atmosphere in front of the Zwift house, and that really like spurred me on during the run.
Awesome, yeah. I mean, they've done a great job, haven't they?
It's amazing,
Thank you. And Liv, I gather you had the second fastest run of the age group day, is that correct?
Yes.
And you hit that running goal. Have you looked to analyse the numbers of like where you close the first? Do you have a position goal in mind, or was it purely time driven?
I mean, no, I didn't have like a position. I just wanted to have a good run that I enjoyed, and time anyways, it's really hard to say, like on the island it could be a slow time, but another day, like that other year, it could be a fast time. So I just really wanted to enjoy it, and that's what I did, and show that I can run because it's what I love to do.
She can definitely run. Yes, I think we all knew that. We were all, I think, excited to be able to see you actually show that as well.
Yeah, and I was really, really happy that I felt great, and so yeah.
That's so cool. And obviously there was a lot of fast times. We saw the overall record smashed, and Jana, you got the fastest bike, I think, and your fastest time, even though it's your 9th time racing here, 10th Ironman World Champs.
Yeah.
What do you think overall brought that together? Obviously your own training and your wisdom and all of that, but was there more yesterday happening? How did everyone go so fast, and especially yourself?
Yeah, I think being here for the 9th time, the conditions that we raced in yesterday when it comes to wind were probably the best or the best that I've ever raced in here.
Really?
The wind, it was still windy, but it was more of a traditional wind that you'd get, anywhere. We didn't really have any scary or strong crosswinds or gusts, so I think it was just a little bit easier to stay aero and just do your race. In terms of the bike record, Hawaii and time, like you can't have time goals. You can only have, I ride by heart rate or power, so I kind of just tried to stick with my ranges and with what I can do, and that definitely came together yesterday quite well.
And you were saying to me before that you rode the power you targeted and no higher power than last year, yet you were how much quicker?
It was roughly around the same. I think I just did a better job of maybe pushing the uphills a little bit and then kind of cruising, if you will, on the downhills. And the course itself just was, after halfway through, quite empty for me, so I could just put my head down and not worry about riding around people and just strictly focus on me and what I can do.
Yeah, 'cause you've obviously raced with the men here as well. And, and I know, Steph, you were here last year when it was a women's only, but still men supporting. But how did it feel out there? I mean, the atmosphere watching was great, but how did it feel sort of being in this sort of unique race, the first time ever for women only?
Yeah, it was amazing to be part of history. And I think the women, we all cheered for each other, not necessarily just like us but just everybody cheered for everybody. I think even just going through aid stations and seeing people, hearing your name, I mean, I don't know half of these people, but it was either, go Czech chick or go Zwift or so much of that. It was, I mean, every step of the way, really. Yeah. Whether it was on the bike and you just had no idea who that was, or on the run course, I mean, really the whole way through. And it just felt special, not aggressive, minus maybe the swim. The swim start especially was quite aggressive.
Even with the small groups.
Yeah, but the rest of it just, it did feel different, but in a good way.
Yeah. And Liv, you had the target of coming here 4 years ago. You wanted to come in with it being with the Academy. How has this compared? And like just wearing that Zwift kit on race day and having people, like Jana said, cheer for you. What difference did that make to you?
Well, I mean, honestly, I felt quite special already in the morning when you're like walking in a group, you have like all the cameras around and like just people like, also, I mean, as she said on the run, I don't know how many people like called out my name or said go Zwift, and it really pushed you because last time when I was here, I mean, Mail was still racing and I had like a lot of male friends who were here to cheer me on. I know that I didn't gonna have that yesterday, so it was really nice to just have the team, and it just really pushed you. Seeing the orange tent standing there, and it was amazing. So it was really nice.
Very cool. And Camille, having been part of this team in the build up, and then coming out here and meeting everyone, just over, was it 10 days ago? Yeah. When did you arrive?
Yes.
Yeah. And I know you guys you've been very open and shared everything, and it felt like it's been very relaxed. But do you think you've learned from being part of this team and part of the bigger Zwift team with the likes of Tim Don and Sarah True? And what have you gained from that, do you think?
Yes, definitely. I've learned a lot because everyone is so talented and it's really humbling to be here. And I've learned a lot.
You're so humble.
I've learned a lot from everyone around me, for sure. On the course, it was lovely seeing the girls, as I said. They really cheered me on, and it's been amazing.
What will you take home from this?
Just to never give up and always, keep going.
And what is next? Do you have another? And we are only just over 12 hours after the finish line. I don't know if are you still in that moment where you're like, never again an Ironman, or are you already thinking like what you might do?
Well, actually, I think for me that might be one of my last long distance races, actually.
Okay. Oh.
I want to either move on to shorter distances, so I have dreams of doing something different and like crossing a country unaided with just swim, bike, run, climb, kayak, whatever. So I think I'm going to find slightly different challenges going forward.
Well, let us know at GTN, because that sounds something right up our street.
I will do.
keep us posted. Yeah. And Steph, you talk about you hit that wall, and we were chatting a bit off camera of how you suddenly felt dizzy, and we saw some notable pros. Kat, one of them, that DNF'd and hit that. Talk us through like what happened. When did it hit you? What went wrong?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really know what went wrong, and it's one of those things that pinpointing a moment with hindsight is quite easy. So I wasn't well on the bike, and it was hard for me to keep nutrition down. I won't elaborate on that.
We can imagine.
It was actually coming down the bottom of Harvey. All of a sudden, you were cool air up at the top. You've had this lovely descent, and then it's like someone turned the oven on, and you get warm again. And I just couldn't cool down. Jana came past me at the airport and was like, hop on, and there was no chance that I was holding a wheel.
Come with me.
Yeah.
I didn't get the usual smile back. Oh, I knew.
I wasn't feeling great.
Feeling all that.
So it was, and I think there was a moment where I got dizzy, and your cognitive function starts to go, and I was like, okay, let's be sensible, because you can't have a DNF this year. That's not possible. It's not part of the plan. So yeah, it's easy to look back.
I know.
But at the moment, I just kept convincing myself that it would be fine. I'd be fine when I got onto the run and all of that. But I kept fueling, and I kept hydrated, and I had ice on me all of the time, which definitely got me to the finish line. But yeah, it was just one of those things that, as Camille said, as soon as you get too hot, coming back from it is so hard.
That's crazy, isn't it? And Steph, you've hit those goals, but maybe not quite what you wanted. What is next for you? Because we've seen you have some incredible performances coming into this.
Yeah, so this has been an amazing season for me, and truly the last piece of the puzzle was getting across the finish line. I'm actually hoping to turn professional next year and take my pro license, and I'm super excited and inspired watching the ladies race yesterday, because we did get to watch, because of the nature of the course. We got to see elements of it, which was fantastic, and I want to be a part of that and learn from them and get involved and get stuck in. So fingers crossed next year I'll be out on the pro circuit.
Oh, amazing. Well, we'll be watching closely. Amazing stuff. And Liv, I know you've been this year mixing it up with short course and then coming and absolutely nailing a long distance race. Where are you going to choose? You're going somewhere in the middle? What's next year looking like, and the next 5 years? You're still very young in the sport.
Honestly, I really don't know. After Ironman Switzerland, which was really hard, I didn't want to race here, honestly. So I just took it because I was in a Zwift team, so I had to take the slot. So I was like, it's going to be my last one. But honestly, I had so much fun on the run. And, I got the chocolate medal. So I'm like, in a way, I still want to come back. But, I don't know. I think I'm just going to let it sink in, and then we'll see what's going to happen next year.
Okay, well, we'll watch with close eyes. And Jana, we touched on it, that perfect performance, and you're obviously very good in the heat, and I imagine that's part of the reason that you perform so well. But what's left to unpick now for you, and what will drive you to come back to this island for the 10th time and your 11th World Championships potentially?
I think it's the same thing. It's that perfect performance that I still haven't gotten yet, and I think it's really, I just want to nail a run on the island, and I haven't. I actually have come quite close. I really had a great day yesterday, and I was feeling awesome and running really well up until mile 21.
That's
and
pretty good going.
And then the wheels just completely fell off. It wasn't slow falling off, it just was off. And I got into that dizzy, nauseous, am I gonna make it feeling? But thankfully, I knew I had a big lead at the time, so I knew I just had to keep moving. But I think every half a mile I was asking somebody else how much my lead was and if it was shrinking, because you just never know in an Ironman, right? Like if the lights go out, you don't lose seconds, you lose minutes. And so, it was a very long last, whatever, it was 45 minutes an hour. But obviously amazing finish line, amazing feeling.
Yeah.
Hard to explain. It is. I can't put words to it just yet. But I think
you've got lots of time.
Yeah, I'll be back. And I love the Ironman distance. So I just love the combination of the physical and mental aspect that goes into it. And I love to train, so I don't necessarily need to race a lot. So it works out. Yeah, it's just, I think that's the distance for me.
Brilliant. Well, it's fascinating to have spent the time with you girls and to get to know you a little bit better and what motivates you and just see you as a team, which I think is really unique in our sport that, you know, can be so individual, but it really did feel like you were gelled. So thank you for letting us in and bother you with all of these questions and sticking microphones in your face when maybe you didn't want it. And yeah, best of luck for next year, next races and beyond triathlon as well. So yeah, thank you. It's been a real pleasure.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks, girls. And yes, if you guys have enjoyed following them, well, you can check, all of them have a social media presence, so you can go and find them on Instagram. And yeah, hopefully you have enjoyed it. And maybe this has motivated you to get ready for some riding on Zwift as we head into the Northern Hemisphere winter. I hope you've enjoyed it. Give us a thumbs up if so.